Welcome everyone. Today we'll have a very short but important guide to show you what are the bad stats on the gears. Yes, the gears can have some not so good stats and there are some not so good talent perks you should actually be avoid. So first of all, if you look into the catalyst, some of you might see my other videos, we talk about the transfer time. The catalyst actually have minus 59% transfer time. This is one of the unique stats on the gears in Wolcen that is actually negatively affecting the character. What that means is, let me take my rings and things off to show you guys a more better display. So if I cast my spells, notice there's a black thing that's between my rage and also my willpower. If I continue to spam my spells, the black part becomes bigger. So those are the transfer time that's not being used wisely. So because my catalysts have a transfer time reduction, those resources are getting transferred in like limbo. It's like transferred in another dimension. So the minus 59% is the reason I have such a big gap when I cast spells. And sometimes the gap goes further. Here the gap's not that big, but sometimes it goes bigger and bigger. All of a sudden you have no resource. It's just a black hole that sucks all your resource. So you want to roll for catalyst possibly to close to 50% as you can, because the higher it reduces, the worse it gets. So the highest this one can roll I think is 70 or 80%, which is really terrible. But if you go down to 51 or 50%, it's really good. So why is that? Because in order to compensate for the fact this catalyst also reduce my transfer time, I'm actually socketing for 3 different sockets of gems to increase the transfer time. So I'm adding these gem here to increase 25% transfer time, and here is another transfer time deduction increase by 25%. So plus transfer time decrease is good, minus transfer time is not good. So you can see the difference. So to compensate for the catalyst, I'm actually using 3 of the gems just for that. I can go for more critical chance and lifesteal, but I'm using this just to compensate for that, because I'll be spamming steals a lot. Notice here it transfer almost instantly now, because I have the gems in. Much different. Makes the build much quicker, and I don't go out of resource. Now we spoke about the first things you want to avoid on the gears. The second thing is actually on the weapon. This one is quite interesting, because if you look up on the weapon, it says plus 3 seconds conversion time. The text is a white text under the skill gems, which is the force damage added to attack. You can roll anywhere from plus 2 seconds to plus 5 seconds rage conservation time. What that means is, when you cast a spell, the rage is going to stay that way for a bit, then it's going to start to go down. So it kind of retains the rage for you. But if you're a mage and if you're using a dagger, you actually want to get as low as you can. But if you're a ranger, if you are like say a warrior, you want this as high as you can, so it keeps your rages for longer. So this is a flexibility factor. It's not always bad for you, but for mages, try to go for 2 seconds or 3 seconds with rage conservation. For warriors and rangers, try to go for 4 or 5 seconds, because it retains your rage. Warriors and rangers uses rage for spell casting, and mages use willpower. So you want to get your willpower as quickly back as you can. This is really important. And sometimes as a mage initially, I couldn't get it back as quickly. I was like, stop going to rage, come back to me. So I had to use some of my potions. Here I'm actually a hybrid mage and warrior, so I actually don't mind about this one. I just need quicker transfer time on this. So now we look into the particular set of stats with rage, and we see the importance of rage. The last particular thing in Wolcen that might be negatively impacting us with any build is actually in the talent tree. So this particular perk sounds really good because you have lots of physical resistance and this adds damage. But what it doesn't say, or what it doesn't state clearly, is you minus 50% multiplicative of your critical chance. So if your critical chance is 50%, you go to 25%. If it's 10%, you go to 5%. So almost at any stage in the game, you don't want to pick for this one, because the added damage, I don't think it's multiplicative. So you get damage that's added. Let's say you get 50% added damage. If I already have 600% added damage, I don't need that 50%. And it's not a big factor, it's like less than 10% added damage in total in percentage. So 50% just added to 645 is not that great, but you lose a multiplicative critical chance. I was running a build with 60% critical chance. I perked for this one. All my damage went away. I don't know why. And I checked again. I found this perk, and this is actually a terrible one. before the changes or before the bug fix with elements, people used to pick for this one because elements don't critical. So there were element builds that debuff enemies with poison, with fire, with lightning that just ticks enemy to death. But now with this perk that allows you to critical chance with damage over time with elements, you also want to crit. So there are no skill that doesn't want to crit in this game. Because you want to crit with elements, you want to crit with everything, you really want to avoid this one at all cost. I will actually just go around it any way I can to not perk it for it, because this is actually the worst one. Yes, you get, a bunch of percentage for your physical resistance, which is not worth it. Because if you look at my critical chance is at 71%. I'm at 400% pretty much with critical damage. So when I crit, I increase my damage by 4 times. And if that is halved, my damage is pretty much halved. And you really don't want to halve it. This is something I found that was actually a little annoying, because I was like, oh gosh, I have to reset the whole talent tree. I was perking here because I get a lot of resistance. I was like, why don't I convert it into damage? When I tried it, it's actually not good. And if you convert that into damage, it's not a damage plus, it's a negative tree. Now, one thing to notice is similar here. Notice here we're losing damage, but we're getting critical damage. Critical damage multiplies onto the damage, while minus damage is just minus 30%, lowering the 400 or 600% by 30. So this is a good one, and this is why in a patch this was getting nerfed. Before the nerf, this one was 100% critical damage and minus 30% damage. It's still worth it now because critical damage is a bigger factor. That's why you can see some of my other perks, I'm going for critical damage, and critical damage. Even here, some of the perks with 10% critical damage was really strong. So that is a majority of the things you want to avoid with Wolcen, simply because you want lower transfer time and you don't want to minus your transfer time. So you want the minus transfer time to be as low as you can. If you're a mage, you want the rage conservation time as low as you can. And for any build, you want to avoid this perk. This is not good. There are also other perks that people don't pick that often, but if you do pick it, I do have a small warning for new players. For example, this should be the one. Where did it go? It's this one. So, for this one, for the Abyssal Shaper, for the Malchusistic Effigy, for this one, if you're going for any of the force shield build, you need to make sure you have lots of force shield before you perk for this. Because if you look at the second text, health cannot exceed 5% of maximum force shield. What's going to happen is, if I only have 5000 force shield, if I pick this perk, my HP will go to 250. Yeah, my HP will go from 80k to 250. I've tried it before. It's actually a pretty damaging perk. You just die when you go outside. And even if you pick this one, it goes to 15%, it's not enough. So how you want to compare this is, your force shield needs to be at least 140 or 200k force shield when this is perked to make it worthwhile. Because it's just not worthwhile to have so much HP loss for the force shield unless you have lots of force shield. And the plus side is having higher force shield, you can go for the Juggernaut. The particular skill Juggernaut actually helps a lot with higher force shield. So notice it has got about 30k damage. If you perk for the one that actually takes the force shield, which should be here, this one. If you pick for this one, it takes our force shield into damage. If you want to see a force shield build, we do have a force shield mage. But if you don't go for any of the force shield build, never pick this one. This will just destroy your build pretty much. And this is for just lots of HP. There is one more, since we're going into the perks that we shouldn't be looking for, and there is one more, yes. I'm not saying it's not good, but most people don't need this particular perk unless summons are the biggest factor for damage. Why is that? Because none of the summon perks seems to be doing that much for the summons, and they don't do a lot of damage, and they do single target damage mostly. And if you pick for those 4 perks, you lose 20% of your health, 5% of your health, 15% of your health, and 10% of your health for the 25% and 20% less damage taken by summons. The fact that is my summons have 1 million HP, and if I summon them, this is like summon every 1 minute, every 1 second. So every second pretty much I can summon one. And I'm sure most things can't kill 1 million summons, 1 million HP summons in 1 or 2 seconds. So it's actually worthwhile to resummon them, then actually spend about how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Spend 7 points into this and actually lose a ton of your HP and 4 shield. I've tried it before, it's really fun, and if your summons don't die, you don't die as well with 3 or 4 summons. The downside is it just takes too much perks. It takes 7 perks and you lose too much HP. And this is something small. Maybe in the future when summons becomes more popular, we can look for it. But at the moment, it's not the best one. And oh, talking about that, I also have one more. I keep thinking about the perks not to pick, right? I've been through there all the time. So this is one here. If you guys haven't seen this one, let's have a look. This is the offensive branch with the Warmonger. I used to love this one if I go for any of the physical build. Yes, you can perk here, you get material damage, you get fire damage and force damage converted into physical, which is not bad. You also get a other occasional damage that's other secret and shadow converted into physical. Those are decent as well. The biggest factor is here. You actually still benefit from other sorts of flat damage. So if you convert everything into physical, toxic and rend, it's great, but it doesn't allow you to debuff enemies with other elements. Here I have a chance to debuff enemy with Frost, Fire, Lightning, Toxic, with different physical attack builds. Here my Bleeding Edge is debuffing enemy with Frost, which could in return give high critical chance. But if I picked this particular perk, you will not be able to debuff on physical spells with any elements except Toxic and Rend, because physical doesn't debuff. So you lose the capacity to debuff enemies with all those other ones. Here is the 3 occasional ones, here is the 3 elemental ones. You can't debuff enemies effectively. And on top of that, the 50% material damage is very low. I'll give you guys an example. The 50% material damage you get here is close to 1 small stat on my gloves at 43% material damage. And if you're spending a whole perk that loses out element chances, debuff chances, if you're also spending, a bunch of points to get there, and you just get 50% material chance, which can roll on gloves very closely to 43%, it's not worth it. The bonus damage from these gloves is not that high as well for the 43%. So I don't recommend this one unless you guarantee you just want the physical build, you don't want anything else. Over here, similar idea is that you're converting physical damage to rend damage. Initially I thought this is a nice one, and it can be if you have a lot of the rend multipliers and rend lifesteal for the Bleeding Edge or any of the bleeding build. But during turn, you don't really gain much of the perks. Yes, you get the attack speed, which is not good actually. Attack speed means you cast faster. Life Leech is okay, bleeding chance score is not great. So you're perking for this one, you waste a lot of perks, and you get physical damage into rend. For every point of physical damage, you do additional rend damage spell anyways. It just doesn't add towards the rend damage factor. They have the same multiplier, they do the same damage. The only thing I think that will be different is if you don't have enough rend damage to go on top of other damage, you won't proc the bleeding effect. So this was good for Bleeding Edge, but usually there's a lot of better perks for 4 points. So I don't recommend this as well. But initially the other ones that definitely don't pick those, and those are more like I don't recommend. So keep that in mind. So here we did go a little further than what I wanted into explaining what things to avoid in Wolcen and what things to be negatively affecting your character if you play. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you find this particular guide helpful, because in the future I'll be making different guides on the insights of the game and what I have knowledge with to share with new players, existing players, and to bring the game a little further. And hopefully like part of Exile or Diablo, it keeps updating their new seasons and go further with the game. I'll also be on the lookout for the balance changes and the new patch changes for any interesting builds for us in the future as well. Thank you so much for watching this guide, guys. I'll see you guys on YouTube next time.